Hi guys, welcome back. So today's video I wanted to talk to you all about finding apartments here in New York City. So I have 6 tips and pieces of advice to give to you guys. So I've been living in New York City for the past 3 years, and every year I've moved from apartment to apartment. So I feel like I've kind of learned along the way on what to do, what not to do, kind of how to go about it, because it could be very overwhelming. There's so many different criteria to take into account. So I really hope these 6 tips help. So let's just jump right into it. Tip number 1, you don't want to start looking for your apartment too early. So you want to give yourself maybe 2 to 3 weeks before you have to move. Anything before that, you might fall in love with the place and it might not be there by the time you sign your lease. Also, if you do plan on working with a private agent, a lot of them don't want to work with people until it's like a month until you have to move. So I know that's different from a lot of places. I know I'm from Florida and you usually could look like kind of like months in advance, but here it's the market is so quick, the turnover is so high, so you really just have to, you know, look right when you're gonna move and then act on the apartment you want very quickly, because it'll go like so fast. So number 2 is to make a list. So just like in a little notebook like this, I would suggest writing down some of your criteria. So the first thing is, I'm assuming you guys know who you want to live with, so you should write down what kind of space you're looking for. In New York City, there's so many different options. You could do a 1-bedroom, you could do a 1-bedroom flex, you could do a large studio, divide it up, however you want to do, but write down these options so that when it comes time to look, you know exactly what you're looking for. Also write down your budget. You can have your preferred budget and then your absolute maximum that you can go. And obviously I wouldn't like tell this to people yet right away. I would kind of go in with your preferred budget, but if you fall in love with an apartment and it's a little bit higher and it's still in the range of the absolute highest you could go, then you're in luck. So definitely have your budget planned out already. I would suggest writing down a list of the top 5 neighborhoods you would like to move into. That's kind of how the pricing works in New York City. So just for example, let me give an example of like an expensive neighborhood. Like Chelsea and Meatpacking District are very expensive to live in, whereas places like East Village or Financial District, you could usually get a little bit more space for your money. They're still expensive, don't get me wrong, but you could usually get a little bit more space and maybe in a nicer building for around the same money. Also, you need to, I would also suggest writing down criteria of a building. So this is like if you want a gym, if you want a door guy, if you want an elevator, if you want washer dryer in the building or in your unit, anything like that, write it down, because when you go online, you're gonna have to check off boxes, and if you have all this down, it'll be so much easier. So if you have a pet, write that down. This way you could just go in and click through and you know exactly the criteria you're looking for. So just an example for me, I'm always looking for a doorman building with laundry, with a washer dryer in the unit, and an elevator. I don't really care about the gym. I use an outside gym, so those are like my 3 top priorities. I don't have a pet, so if it's a building that doesn't allow pets, that's okay by me. So that's just like an example of my criteria. So tip number 3 is to beware of brokers. So I learned this the hard way, because my first 2 years actually, I used a broker, and I'm not gonna get into that whole story. That's like, it's just too long of a story. I suggest only using a broker if you're looking to lease a privately owned apartment building. Does that make sense? So if you're going to like a large corporate building that has a leasing office, do not use a broker. The broker is just gonna charge you a fee, and they're gonna get you the same deals that the buildings are offering. Buildings usually offer a deal, whether it's just like a lower rate on security or a month free, something like that. So you don't need a real estate agent to get you those deals, and you can just make an appointment with the leasing office, go in, see the apartment, and work everything out with the leasing office. You do not need a broker. But if you're looking for a privately owned unit or apartment building, then I suggest using a broker, because it might be hard to find exactly what you're looking for. Okay, so tip number 4 is always try to negotiate. I don't care if they say they can't do anything, always try. Even if they can't get the monthly payment, the monthly lease payment down, they can usually give you 1 month free if you sign a 1 year, or 2 years, sometimes 2 months free. They can lower your security. They can do something. Sometimes, I know my building last year, they waived the gym fee. So for my first year, I didn't have to pay for the gym. Instead of paying 1 month security, we only had to pay $1,000 of security. So you could always kind of work out these little deals just to make the whole moving experience more affordable. Tip number 5 is to explore your options. So this was me. I saw the first apartment I saw and I was like, let's do it. I love it. And you should really explore your options and see other stuff, because I continued to look. Good thing I didn't sign, and I found an apartment I loved way better, and it was actually more affordable. So you might love the first one you see, but definitely see a few more and really get a feel for the neighborhoods of each, the price, weigh the pros and cons, because you don't want to just jump on the first apartment you see, because you might find something better down the road. So tip number 6 is just to be aware of everything when you're looking. So if you're looking at an older building and it's really like old and you could just tell, like, beware, like look around to see if there's like bugs or rats, or make sure the foundation is strong. Like here in New York, there's buildings that are over 100 years old, and I've heard horror stories that people move in and like it's infested with rats, and then it's so hard to break your lease. So when you're there, make sure you're seeing your actual unit. Don't just, you know, some people try to say, oh, this is your exact unit, but it'll be on the 5th floor. Ask to see it, because you never know. There might be mold, or there might be, you just never know. And here in New York, it's like, once you're in a lease, it's so hard to break out. So really just make sure you're seeing the exact unit you're living in. Get a good look, take your time, don't let people rush you. You know, this is a big investment, so don't let anyone rush you. Take your time, investigate, and make sure it's an apartment for you. So I hope these 6 tips helped you guys. I'm actually going apartment hunting this weekend, so I'll do kind of like a vlog video to show you around Williamsburg, Brooklyn, where I'm living. This way you could see some actual apartments and the pricing of everything. So I really hope you guys liked this video, and I hope you found it helpful. As always, feel free to leave a comment below. I love hearing from you guys, and thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.